Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the next part of the Yoshitaka Amano mobile platform project, where last time we did, once again on the painting front, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. In that, we got the tassels kind of painted in there, which in real life doesn't look that bad. Went looked at it on camera, and on camera those things were just like a beacon staring out at you. It was not too great. I toned down the edges a little bit of that, but again, in real life it doesn't look that bad. On camera here, it's coming across a lot more stark than what I normally see. That said, I also want to thank whoever pointed out I was talking to my family members before on the platform up top here. They're saying, you keep saying it's purple. It comes out really blue on camera and whatnot. We look at it online, it's really, really blue. Well, it is extremely purple in real life. And I went back through the videos and I'm looking at the image right now, and yeah, it does actually come out kind of bluish on camera. So I keep saying it, but at some point in time, I might need to get a better camera. I remember doing the base on the Kai one, those colors there was a 100% difference between real life versus on camera. Now to seeing this, it's very purple here. It's very bluish what you're seeing, and there are definitely some things going on, but thankfully, I think for a while, this is going to be the final painting session for a while. I'm just going to jump on. I know I still have up here to do. I know it's only been like 4 episodes of painting. I gotta move off of this. We need to make some good visual progress going forward. But in this time, I want to get the first coat of paint on the front legs, just like having the back, and then I can always kind of touch that up again afterwards, off camera. So then when we get back and do the final kind of stuff, we're gonna be in good shape. But it would at least help to have a coat of paint on everything that I have here, which would be fantastic. So, as is usual, give me one moment as I put all this stuff into a safe location. We don't need things happening to this. And just like on the back legs, rather than do all the crazy stuff we have going on here, the camouflage stuff, we're just going to keep this very neat and clean. Similar to the back, we're going to use our 4 main colors here, which is going to be the gray / the light gray, we have the dark gray, I have the shamrock, and we have that orange spice for kind of details. Even though in the image on the side, which you're not looking at, where are you? There is none of the orange in here on that image on the side, but I think I want to tie into what I've done on the back legs here. So I'm going to have, I still need to tone this down. I never actually touched up the back leg since I first put it on. I wanted to get the body kind of right and then bring that into the legs. But I think I'm going to have a little bit of kind of highlights of the orange. Let me bring you down. Highlights the orange kind of on the circle part here and kind of on that. Just kind of give maybe a little bit on the bottom. Just kind of give a couple of highlight areas with that. And then the others will generally be a little more on point with the colors. So let's go ahead and see if we can have some more interesting. Now, the back legs I have done several coats of paint on at this point. Once again, this thing is 100% in the shadow, so I'm going to kind of move you around so I'm not necessarily in the shadow of my camera here. I did turn my stopwatch on. Yes, I did. So I do have an idea of what time it is. So this first coat is going to look very blotchy in the end. That's going to be fine. A first coat on these things, depending on the color, is going to be really, really bad. So I will touch this up off camera between now and when we get back into the painting again, which will come. For better or worse, it's going to come. But I think it's time to move on after this, because nobody wants to. Well, I guess the one nice thing with a bad paint job is it's similar to, like, I know I have a brother who does ballroom dance, kind of as one of his side, let's say, quote-unquote extracurricular activities. And one thing he said like that is, the good thing with that is, even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you're not good at it, nobody's going to watch you. Nobody's going to look at somebody doing a bad dancing routine. Everyone will look at like the good stuff, whatever. Nobody will watch the bad stuff. And that's kind of going to be the same here. Bad paint job, no one's really going to be tuning into. And I've noticed that on the views. Everyone seems to love listening to my drum will go off for 40 minutes at a time, but nobody's really been interested in this part, and I am 100% okay with that. But it is a necessary part that has to be done, so we are going to get it done. Whoop. I probably should be doing both legs at once. I might just wind up doing the one leg here right now. I'll see how time goes, and then we take it from there. Because the second leg is going to be done the exact same way the first leg is going to be done. So there's not much new stuff happening there. But this is also a little less crazy than the back leg was. So this is a little more, this is the type of painting I think would be more interesting if this was clay, and the clay work is a little more, do I need to do underneath here? We're going to have, you know what, I'm going to just put a little bit down on the bottom of this, the underside of that, for just a highlight kind of area. Okay. And some of that's got to be cleaned up. That is going to be cleaned up a lot when I do the other paints on here. So that gets that. 7 minutes in, I can do. This only took a couple minutes. We can do. Try to get both these things on here. Again, it's a first coat, so I'm not super concerned on. I think I've said that every single episode. It's a first coat. I don't need to worry. So I'm probably a little bit of a broken record on some things. And especially if I keep going and keep kind of doing similar types of model projects with this method I'm using of kind of showing how I do things, kind of do everything from start to finish. So I'm a little bit of a broken record on some things. But yeah, first coat is generally just get paint on there. And then second coat is where kind of the magic happens. Spackling is kind of the same thing if you go for like home remodeling front. Spackling, a lot of that is the first coat. Just kind of get things on. You make it generally as smooth as you can, but first coat's never going to be perfectly smooth. It's the second one that counts. This is kind of the same deal. I'm still doing this with the glasses on. Again, when I do my final coats, I'm going to take the glasses off, use my nearsightedness, and make this all really, really neat, good, and all that kind of cut-ins. Right now, not super concerned on that front. So we're just kind of feeling that what I need to get done is just get, generally speaking, just get the paint on here, and we will figure out the details and how to make it look nice after. Do all the good cut-ins, kind of use the paint to clear up some carving areas that may not be super great. We can use paint, can be great for kind of fixing those areas. But the idea is just get it on right now and make sure all the white is covered as we go. So that should take care of that. Goodbye, orange spice. All right, one color down. We have, once again, kind of a relatively brand new water. I think I broke this out for the gold stuff before, and I just kind of finished doing a little bit of touch-ups on those tassels before going live here. So we have a little bit of a green tint to it at this point. Okay, let's move you out, let's move you in, and I think now let's just go with the green. So the green is going to be kind of similar to the platform itself. It's a green top, kind of like a shell that's going to cover the metal kind of frame underneath. So we have kind of green on the front, green up top, and then the other stuff kind of gets the other colors. I'm not sure how I want to do the foot. Foot might be... Foot, I didn't carve a different layer on here, but I might do a green foot and then a base out with the darker gray, kind of like the other one. But for sake of having something, you know what, I think I do need the glasses off so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Am I on camera? I am on camera. At least what I want to be on camera is on camera. And once again, be very patient. Green does not cover at all on a first coat. If you watched that Bang video, the Bang Shishigami one, that took, I think, 4 or 5 coats of green before it finally looked good. So this green is 100% not going to look good at the end of this coat. It's going to take quite a few more after this. Certain colors are just like that. Browns are 100% like that. I have never had brown come out well on a first coat. This is really bad. Reds tend to be really bad. Your warm colors tend to be really, really bad. For your yellows, your reds, kind of getting into the greens here. Cooler colors tend to be better. Like the blues and whatnot tend to cover a lot nicer. But yeah, green does not cover at all. At least none of the greens that I've used so far. I love how I'm cutting in really nicely on some of these areas when the part I'm cutting it against is also going to wind up being green in the end. So that's super cool. I am still on camera. Good. I was actually hoping to get this done yesterday. It's actually being recorded on Sunday right now. It's just about to start doing its get our foot of snow thing or whatever it's going to be coming in is just about ready to start. And I was 100% hoping to get at least a recording done here yesterday. But I did my 14-mile run was yesterday. And we might be snowing and getting blizzard stuff and all that today, but yesterday was like 50 degrees. And so I went for a run. I did my thing. It was like, all right, I had a choice between doing that yesterday or today. It's like, yeah, not a tough choice. We're getting it done yesterday. But I guess my body is kind of used to doing like the 25, 30 degree kind of temperature runs outside. It's been a really cold winter so far. So usually in a season come like April, we get like those random like 80, 90, like say 70 or 80, 90 degree day kind of pops in for like a day or two. It happens every year. It's like that little sneak peek of what summer's going to be. And usually when that happens, my body just kind of freaks. It doesn't know what's going on. It like starts burning through everything. It's trying to do whatever it can to... Ironically, it's burning through a lot of stuff to, I guess, pump the blood to get the heat moving away from the inside of the body. But whatever it is, it just goes nuts. It doesn't know how to deal with it on the first day. And unfortunately, it did that at 50 degrees yesterday. So I wound up actually dropping about 4.5 pounds below what I weighed 2 days ago, 2 days prior to that when I did the previous run. And I just wound up like big old dehydration headache the rest of the night, and it was just not good times. And I was not in the mood to do any of this kind of thing last night, so I'm a little bit behind where I wanted to be. I wanted to get this done yesterday, so today the goal is going to start actually modeling Mid himself. I really do want to get that going. It's like I could do another session on carving the astrolabe stuff, but which I was going to do a week ago and still haven't. But I think I kind of want to get Mid going at this point. So hopefully after this is done, I might sit back, take a break for like an hour or so, come back, and we might start getting Mid modeled out. Again, I'm kind of looking forward to that. That shouldn't be too bad. It should be pretty straightforward. And my expectation is, because he is so much smaller mass-wise and material-wise than he otherwise would be if I were making him a 10-inch tall figure, whereas right now he's just the 5, he shouldn't have too much issue. I shouldn't have too much issue getting that done in a relatively time-efficient manner. So that's the hope. We're going to find out when I get to it. I haven't really, again, formulated the game plan yet of how I'm going about doing him. I haven't really given him a good once-over look just to see what's happening. So I may find out he gets more complicated than I first thought. He may wind up being just as nice as I first thought. I'm not sure. Haven't really looked at it. So we will get there very soon. But hopefully it's something people want to watch, because again, lately this is the stuff that nobody really has wanted to watch. And frankly, I haven't really anything to talk about, I feel like, around any of this either. What I should do if I'm doing painting things on here is just have a list of something, a topic I want to talk about that may not even have anything to do with this, and just kind of cover that. So at least there's something going on in the background to make this somewhat interesting. But the other thought is, at some point, maybe after this project is done, just take maybe like a hard month or something off. Just like leave the YouTube thing for a while, kind of figure out what I want to do with these videos. Because right now, I'm glad for those of you who are watching, but in general, there's not that much engagement I'm feeling between most people who are watching. Very few are going to be listening to what I'm saying right now. And I think I just need to reevaluate how I'm going to go about engaging with making my stuff more interesting and fun to actually want to watch all the way through, and not just kind of pop in for the first and last like couple minutes to kind of see where it starts and where it goes. So might also help if I learn how to do any kind of video editing. Right now I've still never learned anything whatsoever in terms of video editing. The way I do a number of things that look like they're video editing things are just making layers in OBS, and then just like if I have a video playing, just like the last Ultra video I just put out this past Sunday, I had a couple little videos of races I had done in terms of the overhead obstacle topic I was doing. And the way I deal with those on the video editing, quote-unquote video editing thing of their way of doing things, is I just have different layers set in OBS, where one of them is like, let's say 2 or 3 of them are just layers of different videos playing, and then I just turn the video on, and that's it. Once it'll do its thing, then it automatically turns itself off, and it goes back to whatever's live, whatever's on the layer underneath it, which is always the camera here. So that's generally my extent of doing things, and it works for basic things, but if I ever want to make these videos, say, shorter, more concise, more usable, I'm going to need to be a little better than that. So it might help if I actually learn some real techniques. So, because I could do that, I could also try to figure out exactly what I want to do then with that knowledge to make this more interesting to watch. Because right now, there's very little actual. Not that it's bad for those of you who are listening to me talk right now, but again, it would be nice to have more of a engagement with more people. If only because doing this type of stuff, yes, you get these frustrating sessions where it's like on this painting front, you feel like you do everything and just nothing seems to be working. You go through those areas from time to time. It happens. It's part of a creative process. Not everything goes well. Progress isn't linear necessarily. We have these setbacks, but as long as you keep working them and go through, this is still good times. I am still enjoying myself. on the aggregate. And if I can get more people to want to try to do something that they may not necessarily think they have the skill set to do, but just kind of show what's possible, show what you can do, then yes, I'm not one of like the greats who's going to be on YouTube. There are amazing modelers out there, but if I can just show that even if you have just a basic skill set at this, you can make really cool looking things, and you can just do this. But I need engagement from people watching it in order to actually fulfill that kind of goal. So yes, it's great that you're listening to me right now, but it would be nice to reach, I think, a greater audience if that is my ultimate goal on things. So little reevaluation may not be a bad thing. That said, I may also need to kind of turn things down a little bit, if only because the Ultra is going to be coming up, and that is, we are less than 10 weeks away at this point, so kind of need to start focusing more on that as we get going. Yes, I've already have plans on scaling back some of the workouts just because my body is disagreeing with some of my life choices at the moment. In that, 10 years ago I broke my shoulder, and it's causing issues on some of my distance runs right now because the way my bone healed is blocking blood flow to my body, or to my arm, and ultimately my entire circulatory system in ways that are not really helpful for trying to do big long distance runs. And although last year seemed like everything had finally, after 9 years, seems like things had finally worked themselves out and kind of fixed itself, it's turning into problems again this year. So there's that. We'll get over it. If you want to know more about that, watch the last video. The second half, just the video, the week 13 video that just went out on the overhead obstacle one. I spent the first half talking about the obstacles, and spent the second half talking about the shoulder issue and how I need to fix that. So, any questions on that, go right there. That might answer some of those questions. All I can say, though, is not good times. Not good times. Now, being as the image I'm looking at on the side, let me just... It looks like it's more of a dark gray on the foot. I'm just going to do a dark gray down here, and we're just going to see how that goes. I was going to do a green, but I think I just want to see how the dark gray works on that. Oh, that green looks terrible. That is definitely 100% going to need more coats than that before it looks good. That's for sure. Okay, so I think on here we're going to go light gray. Alright, we're going to move you down. We're going to do our light gray. It's going to be basically this piston stuff, and the thing up there. The dark gray I'll make for the foot. And we'll see how this works as a first coat. Second coat, I can play a little bit with this color scheme, but at least get the white off of here. Oh, I'm looking forward to all the shoveling tomorrow. Roads and all that shouldn't be that bad. According to where I live, we're barely getting to like that freezing mark at night. So even if things are coming down, the roads shouldn't be terrible in the morning. But it's still going to take some time to free up my truck from where it is, which ought to be fun. Alright, trying to be slightly nice with this. Again, Doesn't really matter if this is super smooth, silky smooth and straight at this point in time, because for all I know I'm going to be changing colors as well. But the smoother I get right now, the easier it's going to make it for the future. Alright, there we go. We getting in there. Alright, almost through with this one. Yeah, this is going by pretty quick. I don't know why the first leg I did took as long as it did. This is pretty expedient. Maybe there's just more parts or something to it, I don't know, but this isn't that bad. And unlike certain parts, this will make it look better on this first coat than the body of this whole thing did. That's for sure. Because really anything is going to look better than that white that was on here. Once that primer is gone, we are in a better place. It's just, I guess I don't know if I've been lucky or skillful or just whatever it is. The last two paint jobs have been actually wound up, I think, fairly well in the end. Bang's hair color might be like the only kind of questionable. I'm not sure if that's good or not, but by and large, Kai's came out phenomenal. I love Kai's. That whole model came out so good. So good. But for whatever reason, I just got into this one. I'm just in this one series here where just this one element just isn't working, and it is kind of frustrating when you get those. But again, it is part of the process. Stuff like that does happen. You just let it do its thing, and eventually we will work out of that, and it will all come together in the end. The nice thing is, once all this is said and done, the eye should be drawn towards Mid's hair, kind of in the end, which will then draw your eye up into the astrolabe stuff. This bottom layer of things is not meant to draw your eye to it. So because of that, this should work its way out and be good when the whole thing comes together. It's just, for right now, when all we have to go off of is this to look at, yes, it's really kind of unfortunate the way it's been turning out, but it will be okay. At least that's what I'm telling myself, to make myself feel better. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna love it. Alright, we're on leg number 2. Yeah, how did that first leg take an entire session? Am I still kind of on camera? Not have my fingers stick to things. Good start, good start. Also, let's try to be somewhat neat with these cut-ins. Again, if we're not, I'm not super concerned, but would still like to be. Not 100% sure what my next ultra video is going to be. I was very disappointed with this one. I think the video itself came out fine, but it's not what I was hoping the video was going to be. I was like, alright, I'm finally going to do obstacle course stuff. Like, I feel like 90% of the stuff I've done has all been kind of like running, and we're training for a very long trail run / obstacle course race in general. So like, alright, I'm going to do obstacle course stuff this time. So I'm just like, I want to do like the overhead hang, like the monkey bar stuff and things like that. You kind of have to hang down and move between rungs in various forms. And so I'm like, oh, we have a whole bunch of like playgrounds and stuff near us. It's still too cold out for kids to be outside using it, so it's going to be empty and it's going to be great. I can use those things to kind of do nice demonstrations on. And didn't work that way. I don't know what happened the last like 35 years since I was old enough or young enough or whatever to be actually using kind of playground equipment, but sometime between the late 80s, early 90s, and now, which is considerably not 90s or 80s, monkey bars don't really exist on many playground apparatus anymore. They're not on any of the ones that are near me, which surprised the heck out of me because that kind of didn't help the video I was putting out. So I did a whole lot of driving around for, well, I guess it made me feel good that I tried driving around and doing what I could, but it was like, I guess things have changed. Maybe they're no longer quote-unquote safe anymore. They've become a liability, or like a insurance liability or something. I don't know, but they used to be standard fare on everything that I knew of. I remember everything I remember kind of growing up with, but yeah, not anymore. I do know of one. My brother had actually, I talked to him after kind of doing my drive around stuff, and he did remind me there is one that's about maybe 40 minutes from my house that has one. But at that point in time, I was like, yeah, I could go out and do that and get the video done that I want to get done, or it was going to be 50. It was 50 degrees yesterday, and today we have blizzard conditions and a foot of snow. And I had a 14-mile run I had to do between one of those 2 days. And I made my choice. I'm glad I got that run done, but it did have a slight price that came with it in that I had to do a little improvising on that video. It came pretty good. Thankfully I have enough material from races I've done that I could use some of the race material that I have to kind of fill in some of the voids, but it's still not 100% what I was hoping for. I don't really need to be doing the entire spoke on this either. You're only going to see like the bottom maybe portion of it, a little bit on the bottom that kind of sticks out, but for a first coat I can do this. It'll be fine, and then we'll go from there later. Yeah, I have a couple other exterior type videos I want to do, but we're going to see how much of this snow and how fast it melts and what the conditions are outside next week to get them done. If not, they may still be put off by another week, which this has been an awkward time, or an awkward year to be doing any of this stuff so far. It's like nature keeps saying no. You want to do anything OCR related, anything obstacle course related, you want to do anything kind of video wise outside, no. You're gonna get yourself in basic shape, and then after that just hope that basic shape is going to carry you through this race, because there is going to be very little trail stuff going on. There's going to be very little kind of outdoor stuff in general going into this course, which you would think that's going to be a problem, but at the same time most people coming to these races are probably located in like I'm going to say 2 hours of the course yourself. I'm going to say vast majority of the people doing these races probably live relatively near the site the races take place on. So we're all going to be kind of in the same boat. So it's not like I'm going to be at a disadvantage compared to anyone else. We're all going to be doing the same thing. Alright, now I said we're going to... That's what I was possibly doing green, possibly gray. So I'm going to do... The image on the side, if you go over there, looks like it's more kind of the gray. So I'm just going to go straight up gray on here. And again, this is not going to look good. The dark gray may look the best of all these colors. It might cover the best of all of them. But this green being as bad as it came out on a first coat, just blotchiness-wise, isn't going to be helping things in terms of just making this look like something that's great and nice by the end of this session. But as long as you understand that is expected, if you've seen the other painting jobs on the other projects I've done, we have hit at least most of the, I'm going to say most of the colors that I'm going to need to kind of do at least at some point in time on any of the preceding projects, plus this one. And they're just, yeah, I said some colors that just don't want to work. At least on a first coat. This is very much one of them. Very important to get the bottom of this foot. Oh yeah. And this is the foot that's not even in the air, so woo, it's done. I can say I did it. There's not much chance anyone is ever going to see that part. Okay, almost done with this foot. And at that point, we can mostly call it a video at that point, once the 2 feet here are done. Off camera go, put at least another coat of these without changing things, just to kind of clean up what we have, which can either be, which will probably serve as a good base coat then for how we ultimately want to finish this off. But yeah, yep. I still see white underneath here. I don't know if you can see it from your vantage. I'm not going to move the camera at this point, but my eyes could sure see that. And that in there. I guess I can just kind of do that. That kind of keeps it somewhat off the ground. Alright, big old foot number 2. Alright, well, if nothing else, this will help. This will help. This will be positive progress in the end, because at least the white is gone. And we can look forward to doing newer, better stuff after this. I know it won't have the same sound as the Dremel going on in the background like we're all used to, so I'm sure half the people are going to tune out for that, because I don't know what it is. A lot of people like listening to that Dremel. Awesome. But I think there's just something special about carving. Carving, I think between sculpting clay, painting projects, and carving things out of wood, there is just a certain tactile feel on carving that just, it's more interesting to, I think, as a visual to see a carving thing kind of come through, because you have that kind of back and forth, will this work, will this not work? You get kind of like a one shot at it, so it does create more, I think, interest in that regard, kind of watching a carving kind of session versus, say, a sculpting kind of session. But at the same time, if you're doing hand tools, that's one thing. I tend to still like using a Dremel on a lot of things I do, and I have to imagine it's a little rough to listen to. But that said, I'm not of the skill set to be able to carve Mid himself, so we're going to be doing him out of clay. And that's just what that is going to wind up being in the end. How are we on time right now? We're at 40 minutes. Oh, now that I put my glasses on, I can see that green looks terrible. But after like 2 or 3 more coats, that will come together nicely. And that's kind of what we have there. We come up, we get a little bit of, well, it kind of has that camouflagey color we're going to be going from. I will be adding more like the official kind of camouflage stuff, I think, on here. But I would like to have a solid base coat on this first. That is, as of down here, I'm not sure. This might want to be the darker of the gray on that part and just kind of leave the lighter on that side, lighter for the back and side, and do a darker down this middle. That might be a way to go. It'll kind of give a differentiation on that. It'll make it read a little clearer. But, which actually, now I'm looking at it, I can just do that. I have still a couple extra minutes. There's no reason not to just to do that and get a feel for it. So let's just do that. What happens if we turn you into the dark one? That side. Let's get this side. I was all ready to sign things off, but it's like, no, we're so super close. Just must experiment just a little bit. Okay, that goes in. I guess if we do that, we gotta do the back here should also be the darker. Yeah, I think that gives just a little bit more visual interest to that, which is not a bad thing. Alright, let's do leg number 2. Same dealie. Let's actually put some real paint on the brush. This, I can bring this, doesn't go up nearly as far on this one, so I'll need to probably even the two of them out somewhere, either at the shorter or the longer dimension. But yep, there we go. Yeah, I do like that a little bit more. Because again, it gives a reason why something is carved a little different down there. Alright, I was about to say perfect, but there's nothing about this that looks perfect. Alright, let's clean all this off. Feet have been drying just a little bit, so that should be fine. Because it would be good just to kind of stick this doodad back together over. Whoop. got our foot stuck back together there. Gonna bring you guys out of the way. Let's see, let's put all the stuff, whoop, oh, there goes the water. Let's go and put some things back together here. And see how we kind of... Alright, I think the foot is going to want to not be as dark in the front. We're going to be adding some green to that, for sure. But otherwise, at least having some color on here, I think is not a bad thing. It's definitely better than white. But yeah, I think I'm going to have the foot be, generally speaking, green with a kind of a dark gray bottom to it. And that's how we're going to deal with that. Got to see here you're up top there. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going to end this one. And expectation is next time we're going to be changing gears, I believe, and we're going to start getting into clay work. Should be good. And so until then, enjoy.